fuck is that bullshit? We just recorded one, so I don't have anything else to add.
Happy New Year!
Yay!
Woo.
Oh yeah,
It's December 16th for us, but you know,
Yeah.
time isn't real, so.
Yeah, we're recording way in advance, so we don't have to worry about it over break.
Yep.
Yeah, which is nice though. Like, right now, I'm tired, but later on, we won't need to worry about recording for like a month, so that'll be nice.
That'll be nice.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's gonna be weird whenever we do come back and record though, because we wouldn't have done it.
I know.
Real busy.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have like a real job? What? With normal
I'm-
hours? Question mark?
Yeah,
That's not real.
yeah. I'm still just gonna be doing school, but, you know.
Well, I mean, I gotta do that too.
Hopefully this time I'll actually, like, do it, so hopefully I'll be busy.
I will
We'll
be
see,
in
though.
a workshop and, oh, I guess that is a workshop. Oh god, 2 workshops and thesis hours.
Ew.
Barf. Okay, well, I'll be dead. Nice, it'll be great. I don't have to worry about that until February, though, so.
Yeah, it's all good.
Alright, let's start this shit. I gotta
Okay. Yes.
go buy pajamas.
Okay.
Dinosaur pajamas.
You have to buy what?
Dinosaur pajamas.
Why?
Because me and Morgan and Danley are gonna match on Christmas morning and we're gonna be so fucking cute. Okay? Okay.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say you weren't. Okay.
We're gonna be the cutest children you've ever seen, even though we're all over 20.
I mean, yeah.
Can I go ahead and start?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. You're listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive. I am Shannon.
I'm Shelby.
I'm Hannah.
Yay. Okay. I'm
Go
assuming...
team.
What?
I said go team.
Oh. I'm assuming we don't have any announcements since we just did announcements like an hour and a half ago. So...
I'm a
my-
little less cold than before.
My
There we go.
announcement is something I said while Shannon was getting Maisie during the last episode, but I decided to start my mom's Christmas present cross-stitch project 2 weeks before Christmas, and I work 40 hours a week. So that was a dumb decision on my part.
So it's going well?
I mean, what I have so far looks like a pattern, and it's pretty,
There you go.
but it's
all
also
you
not even a quarter of the way done.
Yeah.
So, but it's
okay.
just
Well, I was
like a
saying-
one color design, so it's not
You don't have to constantly
anything-
switch colors, which will help
Yeah.
save you time.
It's not anything like super complicated, and I already told her she's probably going to get an IOU on it because
Yeah.
I also just started cross stitching, which like I knew how to because my grandma taught me when I was real little, but I also haven't done anything for maybe 10 years, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's all I got.
Okay, cool. I don't have anything. Shockingly.
That wasn't really an announcement that was important, but here we are.
Yeah. Okay, I have a PowerPoint and an outline.
Oh, and I just lost my spot. Dang it.
So, one, I don't know what document y'all are going to look at. Please don't look ahead. Please. Like, well, you might be able to look ahead in the PowerPoint and it won't do anything, I don't think. But, 2, this one's weird. So, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. So, the way I'm going to present this to you is I am going to read the story of what happened, and then I'm going to ask a very leading question where I hope the answer is yes. So, if you have any questions about what I am saying...
So we're supposed to answer yes.
Yes, you fucking better. So, if you have any questions or comments, please hold them until the end, because otherwise you're going to get ahead of me, and you will. This will all
Okay.
make sense whenever I finish the story. So,
Jeez,
we're talking...
Shannon, you're such a lawyer sometimes.
I know.
just got the National Storm Warning
Yay!
Oh, we got snow
I know
yesterday.
I always say that we're having a nor'easter, but we really are having a nor'easter
Yeah.
tomorrow. I got a call from the work that I'm quitting, and they were like, don't even bother. And I was like, cool, wasn't scheduled.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about Vera Renczi. I think I'm saying her name right. Not 100% sure. It is Romanian. I think that is correct. So my sources, we'll get into this more later too. Mostly Wikipedia, which we will get into. A couple things from the crimelibrary.com. There's a personal blog that I got a lot of info from, and then a daily, it's an episode of Deadly Women, which we are going to talk about.
Oh my god, I love that show. I watched the
best show.
entirety of it my freshman, like the first month of my freshman year of college, because I was like, well, I'm sad. How do I fix it? I know murder.
Okay. So, as I said...
Wait, can I say something else really quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Because once I start telling you what happened, I don't want to get interrupted at all possible.
Well, right. But on that vein, I realized how, like, not fucked up, because I know it's now it's like a popular thing to be into true crime and whatnot.
Yeah.
And disasters and shit. So we were watching Chernobyl last night, and I was like, yeah, well, even if I don't see you until we leave to go to Vermont daily, we can watch it during Christmas. And he was like, no, we can't. I was like, why not? He's like, because it will ruin Christmas. I was like, oh, right.
Okay.
Normal people aren't into this.
This is going to sound really bad. Like, maybe. Chernobyl is kind of turning into, like, a comfort show for me, and I don't think that's okay. But I fucking love that show.
Can tell you why you love it so much. 1, the accents are amazing. 2,
yes,
it's because there's that procedural thing at the end. I feel really is right up your alley. Like
it is
the knowing what was wrong and then
Yes.
seeing the justice happen.
Yeah, I think that's probably
quote
it.
unquote justice happen.
As much as you could get in Soviet Russia, but
Soviet Ukraine. But yes,
true, Ukraine. Yes, you're right. That was a miss. That was a faux pas, as your professor would have said.
Was that a faux pas? Yes, drinking an Americano is such a faux pas. Refer to the last episode where we discussed a professor of mine.
Yeah, I'm not cutting any
God.
of that because that was hysterical. So
anyway, yes.
Okay.
Go on,
Yeah.
Vera.
Renczi, I think it's either
Renczi.
Renczi or Renczi. I'm gonna call her Vera because I know how to say that.
Or is it Vera?
I'm gonna say Vera. So,
Okay.
as I said, I'm just gonna run through the facts really quick because there really aren't that many. And then again, I'm gonna ask you a very leading question, and then we're going to discuss a few things.
Is this a push-pull?
Huh?
A push-pull.
I don't know what that is.
Where you ask leading questions. Never mind, I'll shut up.
Oh, yes,
I made my
am
students
asking
do it as
leading
an activity.
questions. I'm
It's
gonna
fine,
ask
whatever.
you. I'm asking a leading question. So
A push-pull...
Okay.
Let me just explain this really quick. A push-pull is where you say something like, would you kick a dog? What's your answer?
Me?
What's your answer? Yeah.
I would not. No.
Okay, so you wouldn't kick a dog. All right. Are you in favor of animal cruelty protection rights, whatever the fuck? It's where you ask a question beforehand that, like, leads you into the next question so that when you say the
Gotcha.
next question, you
Okay.
sound like a total asshole if you don't agree with what you say
Yeah.
previously.
Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. I did not know that.
Sorry, that end. Okay.
It's fine.
This has
Okay.
been English Lessons with Hannah.
Yeah.
This has been English 101.
Okay, so Vera, she was born in Bucharest in 1903. Her mother died when she was 13, after which she and her father moved to Serbia, which at the time was Yugoslavia. By the age of 15, she had become quote-unquote unmanageable and had frequently run away from home to be with various boyfriends, many of whom were significantly older than she was. Early childhood friends described Vera as having an almost pathological desire for constant male companionship and possessing a highly jealous and suspicious nature. So, shortly before she turned 20, she married a wealthy Austrian banker named Karl Schick, who was several years her senior. They ended up having a son named Lorenzo. I believe it was after the birth of her son, well, their son, when she was home alone all day and her husband was out working, she began to suspect that he was having an affair. And she was basically like sitting home alone all day stewing, which is never good for anybody involved. I think we've all been there though.
Yes.
So, in a jealous rage, she poisoned her husband's wine with arsenic.
She pointed right at him.
Yeah.
Wait, what slide are we on?
Oh, we're on 2. I just realized that too. Sorry, we're on slide 2. This is a picture of Bucharest. Sorry, I meant to tell y'all to switch and I forgot. Yeah. So yeah, she poisoned her husband's wine with arsenic, and she told family and friends that he had just up and left them, her and her son. And then about a year later, she told people that she had heard that he had died in a car accident. So he's officially done so. So
Sorry,
shortly...
anytime I hear anything about arsenic, all I can think about is the song in Chicago.
I don't know Chicago that well, so I don't even know what's on. I'm sorry.
It's the Cell Block Tango, and one of the girls is like, some man just can't hold their arsenic.
Gotcha.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, so shortly after announcing her late husband's death, she remarried, but again suspected him of cheating. After only a few months of marriage, he disappeared. She again told people he abandoned her. After a year had passed, she claimed to have received a letter from her husband proclaiming his intentions of leaving her forever, which, duh, he already left you. Why does this need to... Whatever. It's just weird. So
it's official. He's leaving me forever.
Yeah, it's official. It's been a year. I have it in writing. He's gone. So, she never remarried, but she did spend the next several years having a number of affairs, some of which were with married men. All of them vanished within months, and in some cases even days, of becoming romantically involved with her. And she always said that the guy had been unfaithful or had abandoned her. Eventually...
I think I know this story.
Okay, please keep your mouth shut.
I will.
I'm almost done. So, yeah. The wife of one of her boyfriends, I suppose, followed him to Vera's residence, and he never returned home, so the wife called the police. Upon searching Vera's wine cellar, they discovered 32 unburied, zinc-lined coffins. Each contained a male corpse in varying stages of decomposition. At that point, Vera was arrested and taken into police custody, where she confessed to having poisoned 32 men, there were the 32 coffins, with arsenic, when she suspected they had been unfaithful to her or when she believed their interest in her was waning. She also confessed to the police that on occasion she liked to sit in her armchair amidst the coffins, surrounded by her former suitors.
No thank you.
Yeah. She also confessed...
Rose for Emily shit.
She also confessed to murdering her 2 husbands, as well as her son, Lorenzo. He had accidentally discovered the coffins in the wine cellar and threatened to blackmail her, so she poisoned him and disposed of the body. She was sentenced to life in prison and subsequently died there. So this is the leading question. The way that I explain this to you, especially given how I normally present things, does any of this seem odd?
Where do you get that many coffins without being suspicious? Do you have
Good question. Yes. Okay, that is a good question. And I bring that up later.
Okay.
Anything else?
Also, 32 people.
Also good point. Thank you. Yes. Anything else? There's so many.
If she was so jealous of their waning attention, why did she go for married people?
Also good. Thank you. Okay, we got 3.
Why would she kill her kid?
Also good. Okay, so you see, even
because she
with
clearly wasn't hiding them very well. If they're just in the wine cellar,
that's true.
Is he forbidden from going down there or something?
Go get some wine. Wait, never mind. I'll do it myself.
Okay, so good. I'm glad that you guys were able to find these problems, and you keep coming up with more. There are...
We're critical thinkers.
Yes, you are, and I appreciate it. There is a very high chance this woman never existed, and these crimes never took place.
Dun, dun,
and
dun.
so that is what is going to be the rest of this episode, is me attempting to prove that a woman does not exist, which is very difficult to do, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yay!
Can I say something really quick? Because I really wanted to interrupt you, but I didn't.
Yes, thank you.
I almost did a story about Yugoslavia and whatever else you said.
Romania? Or Serbia?
Serbia.
Okay.
It was on top of my list today when I was at
that would
have been so funny. Oh,
yeah.
I should have done it. Whatever.
That's okay. Okay.
Anyway.
So, I mean, I don't even know how I found this story.
How does one person come across that much arsenic?
That's another thing. I will get there. Don't worry about it. We get there.
Also, this isn't the story I was thinking of. I was thinking of the lady who made people into soap. Anyway, I think she was Italian.
Yeah, I think so. I know who you're talking about. I think she was Italian.
Yeah, her name was like Lucia something Italian.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Ocarina. I don't know.
So
That's
if you
Zelda.
anyway, so yeah, I don't remember how I found this. It was just on my dibs list, and I was trying to find. I meant to say this at the top. I have another story fully done, but then I was like, this is real fucking dark, and I don't know if we want to start the year off, so I took a poll of 2, and you guys voted for me to not do the dark one. So here we are.
I said I didn't care, but I also wanted to watch Chernobyl on Christmas, so...
Yeah.
I
To each
didn't
their
say
own.
you shouldn't. I just said maybe we should not.
Yeah, and I took
There's
that as
a
a
little
don't
kitty
do
cat
it.
rubbing on the microphone, just so... Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and then like I was reading her Wikipedia article, and I was like, we're missing a lot of information. This seems kind of weird. And at the very end of the Wikipedia page, it says, it essentially, I should have written down exactly what it says, but it basically says, none of these facts can be corroborated. This may be fake. And I was like, that's weird. And so
What?
then I went to the WikiTalks page for her article, and that is basically where editors like argue back and forth about whether or not their edit should be kept or thrown out. And it's where people who are interested in the page can discuss like where they got their sources, why they put in a certain source, stuff like that. So this is where I got a lot of my, I don't even want to say information, just a lot of what I'm about to say, a lot of it came.
Speculation.
What?
Speculation. Fiction.
Yeah, so a lot of this came from that WikiTalks page. A lot of them gave their own sources to their claims, which I checked out, and they looked a lot more valid than the sources on her actual story, which we'll get to. And then, like, I also did, like, I did do my own research just to try to figure out what the fuck was going on. And, like, there is nothing that actually proves that this woman did exist. And there's a lot of evidence that would tend to show that she didn't. And then just as, like, a side note, the dude who created the page was, like, super salty that people were doubting the accuracy of his sources. And so this is, like, an actual quote. What?
Was he the... Was it our friend?
No, it wasn't. It was somebody else.
Okay.
So this is actually a quote from this person. There is absolutely no substantial literature, sourcing, website, author, person, magazine, historian, etc. who has written anything that claims she did not exist. But somebody responded and basically said, okay, but we can't prove that she did exist. So you cannot present these
As
that's information.
pure fact.
Exactly. And then said you can't prove a negative, although as I said, I'm going to do my best to do that. Because
This is the logical fallacy, what's it called? No!
I don't know.
It's escaped my brain. I gotta check a PowerPoint really quick.
But yeah, it is that fallacy where, like, you can't prove that I'm wrong, but I can't
Yeah.
prove that you're right either.
Exactly. Especially because, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of that. We're going to get to it. So, basically, the rest of this is going to be me poking holes in this story. And I kind of wanted to
Burden of proof. It's
Yes.
burden of proof.
Oh my god, I should
Yeah.
fucking know that. I'm in
I
fucking
know.
law school. Good
I didn't even
lord.
look it up. I just thought of it.
God,
I was
I'm an
like,
idiot.
oh shit, fuck.
Yeah.
Burden of proof.
Yeah, so I basically just want this to be a case study for not to believe everything on the internet and not to
Well-
believe the news all the time, basically, because this is a very good case study as to why you don't do that. So,
Nice.
issue 1, there are no dates at all for this story.
Right.
And it's not that I left them out, it's that they do not exist. So her birth year is given as 1903, but that's literally the only date, and I'll get into it later. The accuracy of that date is doubtful. There's no date for her marriages, the birth of her son, her arrest, her trial, or her death. There's nothing. No
Yeah,
dates.
that's suspect.
Yeah. So yeah, we have no idea what decade she was operating
As
in.
the youths say, that is very sus.
Yes.
Listen, I played that game once and I fucking hate it.
We don't know if she was doing this all over 10 years or 20 years or 7 years. Like, we don't know. Which is, yeah, super suspicious. On top of that, issue 2. We don't have any names. We have her name, her husband's name, and her son's name. Her parents don't have names. Her husband's surname is disputed. I found 2 different last names for him. Police officers don't have names, lawyers don't have names, judges don't have names. The name of the prison she was sent to does not exist. And additionally, the town this supposedly happened in doesn't exist, which I will get into later. So there's also that.
Okay.
So if we can...
So none of this exists.
No, it doesn't. We're going to just continue on with this, though, because it just gets even more absurd that people think that this actually happened. So if we can go to the next slide. This is a photo that has been attributed...
No, it's not.
Yeah, this isn't her. This is the one that is most often attributed to be her. It's not her.
I'm saying that's not a picture because the face looks like it's drawn on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, even expanding that, we don't have any illustrations of her either. We have nothing. So there's no photographic evidence. And this would have been in, I'll get into it, if it occurred in the 1920s when cameras were a thing. There's no photos of her, none of the trial, none of the crime scene. Somebody on the WikiTalks page brought up how Albert Fish, who is a very well-known serial killer in the United States, was operating at about the same time as her. And the difference in existing records is just astounding. And, like, more specifically within this point, we have pictures of all of it. And I don't think that just because this was in Yugoslavia, they wouldn't have had pictures, because they still had cameras in Yugoslavia in the 20s.
Yeah.
So, this just isn't a thing. Yeah. And so in 2012, the Daily Mirror, which is a British tabloid, published a photograph of Vera, or a photograph that they claim to be Vera in an article about her. But that was proven to be a misidentified 2004 photograph. They ended up printing an apology and they almost got sued. So.
Nice.
What year did they publish that?
What?
What year was that article published with the
2012.
photo? Idiot.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Idiots. So, issue number 3? Yeah, issue number 3. Most modern books, which feature the case, regurgitate the same facts that I already mentioned without a critical look at the source material. Many authors and editors of those works have said that they can neither confirm nor deny the veracity of the story, but they don't say that in the book or the article or whatever. They say it later whenever they're asked about it. So they're presenting this information as if it is true with no source or anything like that, and that just doesn't sit well with me.
That's kind of despicable.
What?
I said that's kind of despicable.
Yeah, it's not...
Like, why... Now you have no more credibility. Your ethos is totally blown. Like,
yeah,
sorry,
it's bad.
but...
Yeah, it's really bad.
Whatever.
Issue 4, and this is where we're getting into that Deadly Women thing. So this actually... So, I don't know if it's technically the same show as Deadly Women on ID. So this is actually part of a Discovery Channel 3-part series called Deadly Women that aired in 2005. I don't know if the show was a precursor to the Investigation Discovery show or if they were completely separate. I have no idea. I didn't look into that. So, this story was featured in the first episode of that 3-part series, and it was called Obsession. And they interviewed an expert named Michael Kelleher. So if you can go to the next slide, that's Michael Kelleher. He's a creep, in my opinion.
He looks like a really, like, dollar store version of George Lucas.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so he was introduced in the show. I watched, like, this segment in the show that was about this case. So, he's introduced as an author and a former profiler. But, like, I don't know what he used to profile. They didn't say that.
Literally, everyone in that show is a former profiler. Like, that woman with the outrageous haircut that's, like, 1950s crazy... what's that? Flippy Outie?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
She's a former profiler. I'm like, when? In the 40s? I don't understand.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know what that means. I didn't get into it. So, he wrote a book called Murder Most Rare, which focused exclusively on female serial killers. And his stated goal of this book was to prove that female serial killers aren't rare and that they happen way more often. And the subtext to that is because women suck. At least in my opinion, that was the subtext.
Okay.
So,
that's another logical fallacy called cherry picking.
Yeah.
The information.
Yeah, I mean, he basically did do that. I mean, he's quoted in this, I don't remember if it was this episode or a different article, but he said he found evidence of 100 female serial killers in the 1900s and then stopped looking. And he was just like...
Then you're not doing your job.
Exactly, and I was just like, are you doing your due diligence to research these people, or are you trying to make their facts fit your own agenda? And to me, for reasons I'm going to get into, it seems as if he's doing the second part of that. And then also, he's just really creepy about, like, how he talks to her. I almost put a clip in here, but I didn't feel like it.
Wait, and so he found 100 female serial killers when?
In the 1900s alone, like from 1900 to 99. Well, not 99.
Okay, but you could also find 100 male serial killers, so, like...
Yeah. Well, his whole thing was, because, like, in the stats on serial killers is that it's like only 2% are women or something.
Yeah,
it's a
because
very
we're
low
not
percent.
dumb enough to get caught.
There's a lot of reasons why.
I know.
Yeah. But his theory was that was wrong and that women actually commit just as many serial kills, I suppose, as men do, which is just simply not true.
So he basically did the
Halo?
research to confirm his own bias.
That's what I think happened, which we'll also get into in a minute. Hannah, I have played Halo with you, I think, once. Why?
Well, if you ever play online, there's this thing that there's, like, this voiceover that happens if you, like, kill a lot of people, and it goes, killing spree. And that's all I was thinking of.
Yeah. What else did I have? Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, I think I got in this a little bit. He's just, like, super creepy about, like, how he talks about her. Like, he talks about her looks way too much for her being a serial killer,
okay.
and about how she uses...
A serial killer from, like, 1903 that no one knows what she actually looks like?
Yeah, he was like, she was so beautiful, and she would seduce these men and use her feminine charms, and I was like, no, what? No, gross, like, stop.
There is a literal Reddit thread that is just called white male authors or something.
Yeah, I
like
know.
that.
Yeah. There's, like, a Twitter thread for it, too.
There's a subreddit
really
called
gross.
Men Writing Women. I'm on that. Yeah.
Men writing, that's what it is, men writing
it's
women.
Men Writing
I'm
Women,
just
I'm
gonna
on
go
that.
on it, and I'm gonna
It's...
read the first 3 posts. Let's see what's on there. Men
Trash. That's
writing women. Here we go. First 3 posts. All right.
They had some doozies today.
This is from the Alex Cross series. Arthur, I'm going to call the police, the woman finally said. She was upset now, the nubs of her breasts rising and falling against her shirt. She had a small cell phone in her hand, and William wondered if she had pulled it out of her ass. The thought made him smile. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was that kind of shit. Like, it was disgusting.
Wait, I'm going to find another good one. I'm not reading the top 3. I'm just going to read the ones that
Yeah.
are short. Now, she said, I'm an aesthetic-looking female creature. Okay, what? Makes sense.
Yeah, he definitely had a Men Writing Women kind of a slant to what he was saying. So, beyond the fact that he's a creep, the information that he gave in this segment doesn't match with what is, like, claimed to be the actual story. So, it starts off by saying that she committed these murders in the 30s. But we will get into this later. There are contemporary newspaper articles about this, and according to those, she was on trial in 1925, which we'll get into the accuracy of those articles later. That's going to be the bulk of this. So yeah, she wouldn't have been killing in the 30s if, according to contemporary articles, she was on trial in 1925. He, again, gave very little identifying information. There were no dates, no names of victims. Brings up that she purchased those coffins, which made me think, like, there's no records of those purchases. And wouldn't people get suspicious after she bought 35 coffins?
Yeah.
I'm going to look up, and there's zinc coffins. I'm going to look
Yes.
up the price of a zinc coffin and then put it into a calculator.
Mm-hmm. And so, to build off of that, the actual facts don't make any sense. And so, like, the facts given about her early childhood only exist to, like, progress the theory that she murdered men out of jealousy, and we're given no facts outside of that scope, right? Because the only fact about her early childhood was that she was really jealous.
Yeah.
And liked older men. That was all we were told.
Okay.
You know, that was it. And then, too, the timeline doesn't make sense. So she married her first husband right before she turned 20, which if we're going on her birth date of 1903, which means she likely got married in 1922 or 1923. I'm going to say 1923, though. So those newspaper articles I mentioned, they're all dated 1925 because she was hypothetically on trial in 1925. So how did she, just stick with me.
How did she kill 32? Have that many affairs?
Let me do this. How did she get married, have a son, kill the husband, wait a year, get remarried, kill the husband, wait another year, have 32 affairs and murder all of them, then kill her 2-year-old son for blackmail, all within the span of 2 years? Like, that does not
Okay, but
sense.
her son would have only been, like, 18 months.
Exactly.
So that kid's not blackmailing you, because she had to have been pregnant for 9 months.
No, that child is not going to blackmail you because it's a child. So then...
Doesn't even know. They'd be like, what are these cool boxes?
Yeah. So this would suggest she was not actually born in 1903, but that eliminates the one actual date that we do have. And then in those newspaper articles, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, one of them states her son was 10. Which, again, what 10-year-old is going to blackmail their mother after finding coffins in a basement? You're going to be like, holy fuck. You're either going to try to defend your mother or try to run away from your mother. A 10-year-old is not going to assume you need to blackmail your mother.
If you even realize what they are.
Exactly. And so, assuming her son was 10, he would have been born in, like, 1914, 1915. But, like, we don't have an age for her. So there's no way to figure out when these events occurred. There's no way to figure this out from the one date that we do have. So that date is probably bullshit as well. And then, additionally, how did nobody catch her? How many years is she doing this? How did no one notice that she was buying a shit ton of arsenic and coffins? And then with the coffins, how big was her fucking basement that she could put 32 full-size coffins in her basement?
Well, and not even, it's a wine cellar.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a full basement. Like, how rich is she that she has a wine cellar that big?
Well, I mean,
So,
Kelleher says that she came from a wealthy family, although he doesn't say which family, which also doesn't help.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. She's still a woman in 1920, like...
Yeah, regardless.
In Yugoslavia.
Yeah, regardless. If these things occurred, we would have had a record, and there would have been more logical chain of events, which we do not have. Hannah, were you going to say something?
this casket you can get has a picture of the Last Supper on the lid, so you can look at that forever. I can't find zinc coffins anywhere.
I don't know if that's like a thing anymore.
It is.
Honestly,
Zinc
it
lined
is.
coffin
Okay.
is a thing.
Okay.
Zinc lined. Let's see.
Yeah.
Zinc lined coffin. Because that's what they buried everyone in Chernobyl in.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Let's see.
Are expensive and due to their weight. Okay, well, I would just like to know how much it costs.
That's not helpful. Oh, I found some that are in British pounds.
Okay, how much?
It depends. It goes from about 3,000 let's see. They get less expensive.
You know what?
the further
Here's
in
what
I
I'm
go.
going to do. I'm going to say it's $8,000 because
That seems like a good average. Yeah.
That's like the higher end of a casket, and it said that they were expensive. So $8,000. Okay, keep talking. I got this. What year is this? 1930. Okay. Holy shit. That's $120,000 per
Jesus
casket.
Christ!
Yeah,
I didn't think it was going to be that bad. God damn.
Wait, did I do that wrong? I feel like I did that wrong.
No, you probably did it right. Hang on.
Because
it's also
$8,000 in our money has the
Yeah.
same purchasing power as $120,338.
Damn. Ugh.
Okay, I feel like I did that wrong.
Hang on.
I don't know. Whatever.
I'll check it real quick.
No, I did do it wrong because that's $8,000 if you had $8,000 in your hand in 1925. We need to find out what $8,000 in 1925 money was.
$118,000. 119 if
Okay.
we round up is what the
Wait, but mine says
calculator
120.
says.
Yeah, but it's not inflation that we're calculating, is it? It's
You need to go
backwards flat rate inflation calculator. Is this what I want? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Okay, hang on.
Yeah. $1.
Basically, $8,000.
$537.
Okay.
$537.99. So $538.
I don't know why I needed to know that number. Anyway, she
Times
spent
32.
$500.
That would have been $17,216. In American money, it would have been different in Yugoslavian money. So.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, what
We
would
have
it...
no
And
way
then
of
if
knowing.
you put that back
What
into
was that number?
today's money.
17,216.
Okay.
But Yugoslavia no longer exists.
1,216?
Yeah, but Yugoslavia is not a thing anymore, so I don't even know if we can figure out what that currency would be.
I bet you can.
Yugoslavia was broken up.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was probably a shit ton of money.
That was still $258,000. Right? Yes. Yeah, $258,000.
That's very different than what I just said.
No, I know. I put it in today's money.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, sorry.
I took that and put it in today's money.
Yes.
$258,969.36.
Okay, so, yes.
Oh my god, I cannot believe we just spent that much. Okay.
Well, no, like, I wanted to know.
I know, I'm just...
But yeah, like, how did no one notice she was buying that plus enough arsenic to kill 32 men? Well, 35 total, if we're including her husbands and her son.
I would like to bring one more thing to the conversation. So, instead of using zinc-lined coffins anymore, now apparently we put people in tinfoil. Not really, but it looks like a person in tinfoil.
Good to know.
It's called CAD seal body bags for containment and reparation.
Cool.
Repatriation. That means you died overseas.
Yes.
Anyway, repatriation. Holy shit, I wish I could read. Okay, continue.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to like the biggest chunk of this, and this is like the biggest issue. There's no actual sources on any of this. So if you go to the next slide, this is a screenshot of the Wikipedia article. I don't know if you can see that. After pretty much every single sentence, it says citation needed. Because there isn't a citation. Well. There's nothing. So...
That's suspicious.
Yeah. Almost every, like, modern account, and by modern I mean, like, the 60s onward, has the exact same basic facts with some minor discrepancies, and they all match her entry in the Encyclopedia of Murder, which was written by somebody named Wilson and Pittman, which was published in 1961. So, all modern facts come from this entry in 1961. And that is the only source that we have, for the most part.
And no one knows what their sources were?
Nope. Their sources were probably these newspaper articles that I'm going to discuss. So, if we go to the next slide...
Did you... Oh yeah, Shannon, you were in that class with me. This reminds me a lot of those stories from... What was that magazine called that we had to read that was the old magazine?
I don't remember.
It's like Black something.
I don't know.
But it reminds me of like the silly stories that they would have in there.
That's what I'm going to kind of get into. So yeah, this is just like... This illustration just came from one of those... I almost said Wikipedia articles, one of those newspaper articles.
No, I don't think it did.
So there are only like 3 or 4 English newspaper articles which discuss this case, and this illustration is from one of them. So one of those articles is from the Bee magazine, a newspaper out of Danville, Virginia. The other is from the San Antonio Light. So both were published in 1925. The Bee was in May, and the San Antonio Light was in August. So I had a really hard time finding the articles themselves. They do exist. They're behind a paywall on newspapers.com, so I didn't bother trying to find them. Because I found a personal blog that claims to have the full text of the articles, but they give no links, no PDFs are provided. They even say at the top of their entry for this that this entire ordeal was likely a hoax. So, the issue with the San Antonio Light was that it was owned by William Randolph Hearst. So if we go to the last slide... It was purchased in 1924, which was the year before this all came out. So, William Randolph Hearst was a yellow press magnate. So, this is from Wikipedia. Yellow press is, and yellow journalism and yellow press. So, they're American terms for journalism and associated newspapers that present little or no legitimate, well-researched news while instead using eye-catching headlines for increased sales. So basically, yellow press and yellow journalism refers to a historical practice which, for the most part, has been tamped out. I said for the most part.
I beg to differ.
I said for the most part. There are differences with how we have newspapers now and how yellow journalism...
fake news.
Well, no, I know. But, like, it is different. I know. Like, they exist differently.
Yes.
So... They're kind of like early version of tabloids, but they were way more influential and had a lot more relevance. Like, there's debate.
Yeah, because people thought it was the news, but it wasn't.
People thought that this was accurate because they had no way of fact-checking anything. There's debate about the influence of yellow journalism on the Spanish-American War. Like, this shit caused a lot of problems. Basically means that journalists and editors and newspapers were creating or exaggerating stories in order to sell newspapers, is the general theory. It was insanely popular in starting like the 1880s or so, and then continuing up probably through the Great Depression. I feel like World War II was what kind of started cutting down on that. Don't quote me on that. That's just my own opinion. So, yeah, this newspaper was owned by William Randolph Hearst, who was a known Yellow Press producer. So the article itself, and it was only this article went into this level of detail, went into great detail about what was said at the trial, but there's no court records to back it up. There's no transcript to back it up. There's nothing. This person, whoever wrote it, there's also no author attributed to the story, so we have no idea where they got any of this information. It's also written so sensationally that it's hard to take seriously. So this is a quote from the article. Finally, the glare of her brown eyes would fix him. He could no longer resist her. When she would arise to leave, he would feel that he simply had to follow her. Her last look toward him had condemned him to this, and by this they mean death. Like, this is in a newspaper article writing about a trial.
Nope.
Like, what the fuck is that bullshit?
That sounds
You're back. I was
like
worried.
the worst romance beach novel ever.
Exactly. And then this was the article that said her son was 10, which, like, again, what 10-year-old is going to blackmail their mother? It also tells a story about how when she was a child, she poisoned the family dog because, and this is what she told her father about why she did it. Last night, I heard you telling one of the neighbors that you were going to give my dog to him because it barked too much at night. And if nobody else, either I have him or nobody can. Which, again, that kind of goes in with just those basic facts about her childhood. All that does is promote this theory that she's a jealous, manipulative psychopath who she can't have something nobody can. This does not exist, like, in any other context. It only exists to prove that hypothesis. Also, like, they don't say where they got this story from. Like, was it brought up in court? Like, I don't... This isn't something you would bring up in court. Like, I just don't understand where this came from.
I mean, you would if she was a serial poisoner. You'd be like, look, it started when she was young.
You would, but the way it was presented in the article is that she was telling this story, like, as a defense. Yeah. But again, there's no transcript. There's nothing about the trial other than this bullshit. Like, there's nothing. So there's that article. The one written for the Bee, which came out before that last one, was written by a journalist named Otto B. Tolicius. That man doesn't exist. So...
What gave it away?
No, the thing is, there was a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist named Otto D. Tolicius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for making fun of your name.
No, it's a ridiculous name. He's true. So,
I had a kid at the daycare whose name was Otto B.
Yeah.
But it was a family name.
I feel like Hannah was going more for the last name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say his last name because I'm not giving out a child's name. But
it
was also a bit
Verba.
ridiculous.
Anyway, so this Otto, much like Vera, I'm going to say his first name because it's easier for me to say than his last name because his last name sounds like I'm sneezing. So he was born in East Prussia, which is now Germany, and immigrated to the U.S. in 1907. He attended Columbia University and joined the Cleveland Press after graduating. He returned to Europe in 1903, where he worked for the Universal Service in Berlin until 1931 and for International News Service in London from 1931 to 1932. So, Universal Service was basically a competitor to the Associated Press. Right? You know how nowadays, like, most news outlets, they get their info from the Associated Press? There used to be competitors to that. Universal Service was one of those competitors. He focused on war correspondence. He actually won his Pulitzer for correspondence in 1940 for his correspondence from Berlin. He had been chronicling the rise of Nazi Germany and was actually expelled from Germany in 1939. He was reporting on the Japanese front in 1941 and was taken prisoner by Japanese forces following the attack on Pearl Harbor. He was released after 5 or 6 months, I think, and he ended up dying in 1967. So, I'm giving you this information, one, just because I needed to fill space, and two, we have all this information on this dude. We have nothing on Vera. There's nothing. So, that B article was written in 1925, which is when Otto was working in Europe for Universal Service. That story was syndicated by Universal Service. You know, as I said, who Otto was working for at the time. And how I kind of explained a little bit ago, basically how nowadays a lot of major news outlets get their info from the AP, the B in this instance got their info from Universal Service. So, like, it's possible that this was a misprint and they meant Otto D, right? It's possible this is a completely different journalist attempting to get in on the fame of Otto, but he wasn't famous yet. So that's just a theory that people have put forth, but that's not, I don't think that that's accurate. But guess who owned Universal Service?
Hearst.
Yes. So.
Sorry, I looked away for a moment.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm participating.
Yeah, you're fine. And then I only found like one other article about this story, at least in English, which is from the Kingston. Good Lord.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I turned away and everything.
It's okay. So that article was from the Kingston Daily Freeman out of Kingston, New York. It was published the same day as the B article. It, like, stylistically was different, but the basic facts were the same, which makes me think they got those facts from Universal Service. So,
Yep.
those are the only English language sources that we have. People have looked at Serbian language and Romanian language sources because this occurred in technically Serbia. It was Yugoslavia. It was a big whole thing. But she was Romanian, so that people were like, okay, maybe in her home country they were reporting on this, maybe in Serbia they were reporting on this. There are no newspaper articles in either Serbian or Romanian or basically any other language than English on this story. Like, people went back through the archive of...
And why would America have,
Exactly.
like, an exclusive on this story?
This
Like,
is
why?
when we were still, what's that called when we stayed in the inside the lines for a while?
Occupying?
Isolationist?
No.
Do you mean occupying or isolation?
No.
Which one's closer?
Isolationism. Yeah, when we were being isolationist.
Yeah,
That's what Shelby said.
Staying
isolationism.
inside
Yes.
the lines.
Yes. That's what Shelby said.
So we wouldn't. Oh, I didn't hear her. All
Okay.
I heard was you say occupation. I was
Okay.
like, no, opposite.
Okay. Yes, you're right, though. We were being isolationists at the time.
So, like, why would we give a shit about Yugoslavia is what I'm trying to say.
No, you're right. We wouldn't. And this was post-World War I, so we super wouldn't care at that point.
Right.
Exactly.
And they weren't communist
Especially,
yet.
like, some random story about some random lady who's not even, like, important in any way.
Exactly. It's just weird. So the online archive of, I think this is Serbia. I meant to put which country this is. Yeah, it's Serbian. So their leading daily newspaper, I'm sure it's Politika. They have archives going back to 1904. There's nothing that mentions her in any way, shape, or form. Even, like, her last name is often spelled differently because it's foreign and American people are stupid with foreign names.
True that.
There isn't even anything with a variation. There's nothing about a woman murdering 32 people and keeping their dead bodies in her basement. There's nothing. On top of that, there are no court records or criminal records. There's none. And, like, I get that this was Romania and, like, Serbia/Yugoslavia in the early 1900s, but that, to me, doesn't explain the complete lack of sources. So, like, Yugoslavia wasn't communist until 1946, and although they were going through, like, massive political upheaval up until then, I find it very hard to believe that every single source for just this one case in particular was destroyed.
Yeah, no. That's not a thing.
Yeah, and, like, just to compare it, there was a Romanian criminal whose nickname was Tarente, I suppose, who was operating at the same time, and he was basically just, like, a bandit. So he would have been less important than this story. We have a decent amount of verifiable information on him, including photographs. And for this woman, there's nothing. We also have marriage, divorce, birth, and death records from that time. She's not in them. Her husband isn't in them. Her son isn't in them. There are also
this
claims...
lady did not exist.
No, she does not exist. There are also claims on the Wikitalks page from actual Serbian people who say they have never heard this case. They've never heard of this.
Yeah.
And if it's this massive of a case, wouldn't they have heard about it?
You would think.
You would think. Yeah, and so I meant to put this in here. So, like, most of the sources that the guy who initially created the Wikipedia page used was from a Romanian tabloid, which has been proven to be probably falsified. And basically those same sources that I already went through and have proven to be incorrect or be biased or whatever. He wasn't able to produce any primary source. All of his sources have those same basic facts that come from that encyclopedia entry. Which, again, I'm just kind of like, he was so upset that people were questioning this article. It was kind of hysterical.
Like, bro, it's not your fault.
Exactly. Well, and people were just
wrong.
like, well, and they weren't even saying he was wrong. They were just saying, hey, we have more info, which, again, we can't prove somebody doesn't exist. We have info which tends to show she does not exist. He kept saying, like, you can't put your personal opinion into this. And I say we, but, like, they were like, we're not. We're basically, like, we're literally just telling you there are sources which disprove what you are saying. That's all we're doing. He took it way too personally.
Like, what personal opinion? She's dead.
She doesn't exist. It's not even that she's dead. She doesn't fucking exist.
Well, yeah, but even if she had, like...
Yeah.
She's
I don't
so
have
dead,
a personal
she
opinion
doesn't
on
exist.
Yeah. Like, oh, God, it's just that whole thing, like... Yeah, Hannah, I mean, we kind of got in this a little bit about how, like, we're in the era of fake news and all that. Like, an opinion is not the same thing as a fact, and a fact is not the same as an opinion. And I think with this guy, and I'm assuming it's a guy. Probably shouldn't be. I'm just assuming that it is a guy. He seemed just very personally offended that people were questioning him, which is that's what's making me think it's a guy. But yeah, so just to sum it up, and my takeaway from all of this, and again, like, you know me, I try to present information on, like, I try to bring up contradictory stuff if I can, if it's relevant. There wasn't anything contradicting anything that I researched. Like, there was nothing from any valid source. And I do put in that word valid, because just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that it's valid. There's just nothing. Like, I tried. I looked for so long to try to find information on this woman and to try to prove that she exists. I couldn't find a single thing. So, this is just a summary and, like, my takeaway from all of this. So, as I've already said, most of this is going to be summary, just the TLDR of this. All of the English articles have the same basic facts, which, as I said earlier, it includes the name of, like, the town where the murders occurred, but that town doesn't exist. People think it was probably a different town due to a mistranslation, but that town doesn't have any history or anything that claims that this happened. Like, they don't have any, like, tourism for it or anything, if that makes sense. Like, they just don't...
They would definitely play that up if it was a thing.
Yeah, exactly, and they don't. On top of the English articles having the same facts, all of these articles are from English-speaking countries. Any embellishment beyond those basic facts are not given a source. So any judges, victims, lawyers, etc. are not given names. I especially think that the victims not having any names is what really tips this off into being fake, because that's just fucking weird. I've never heard of a case like this where there's 32 people, most of whom were married, who just went missing and we don't know their names. It's just very strange to me.
Yeah.
That is very weird.
Yeah, there's a Buffy episode in kind of an early season where it's this demon who, like, looks like two little kids, and he feeds off of, like, chaos and anger and stuff, and so he would pose as two little kids who got murdered, and he would get the town riled up and, like, cause chaos and stuff, and that was, like, what sustained him. And that was what made them realize that it was a demon, because Buffy was like, what are these kids' names? They don't have names. Where are their parents? We don't have names. And, like, that was how I felt, like, reading through this. I was like, this is the same thing. Except there wasn't a demon. She just didn't exist. So, my theory on this, which I kind of led you guys to not be able to believe anything else, but that was because I couldn't find anything that could lead us to believe anything else. I tried so hard to find another theory, and I just couldn't. So my theory is that because all of those contemporary accounts came from Hearst-owned news sources, it was either greatly exaggerated from one small case, like maybe a woman poisoned a husband and was on trial, and it just got blown up, or it's fabricated entirely to sell papers. I think either of those is fairly likely. Either at Hearst's direction or by Otto independently, and that the story was created to generate sales.
That makes me think, have you ever seen a Harry Potter sequel?
Yes, I have.
That part in the very beginning where they're talking about Umbridge, and it's like, I heard a Dementor kissed her once, and it died!
Yep.
So they're just, like, building on an exaggeration. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I tried so hard to find stuff that would prove, like, this theory wrong, and I couldn't. And, like, normally, I'm the kind of person that was like, just because I can't find it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Because, like, I'm not a perfect researcher, obviously. But in this case, I don't think that applies. I really, truly don't. Like, no one has found anything that proves that this woman exists. Or that these murders occurred. And that is all I have. So somebody tries to tell you that Vera Renczi killed a bunch of people. No, she fucking didn't. She probably didn't even exist. So... Because I did see, like, there are podcasts on her. I didn't listen to them because I'm stupid, and I should have, but I'm really hoping that they also pointed out that this woman didn't exist. I mean, otherwise it would have been a really short episode, because I ran through the facts in about 3 minutes. And these are all the facts that we have. So, yeah. Yeah, that's really all I have. I tried to make that as long as I could, but there's only so much information I can give on this topic.
Look, we're at an hour.
That was good. That was insane that, like...
Yeah, I just thought it was nuts. That, like, this...
I don't know, I had a thought and it died.
Well, I just thought it was weird because, like, I don't know, we don't really... Like, we know a lot of true crime stories. The three of us. I mean, and I'm going to keep it within the three of us because I can't speak for other people. We know a shit ton of true crime. Good Lord, true crime stories.
All right, time to end it. Shut it down.
Yeah. I've never seen one with this little information that people are purporting to be true. Like, I meant to put...
I was going to say, like, even the Frog Boys, like, had more information than that.
Yeah.
And that had no information.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, like, the cases of, like, Jack the Ripper and stuff, we have more information on those.
You could literally
name... information on Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly.
We have names and dates.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you could name any event. Like, even something such as Bigfoot, which is not proven to be true. It just isn't factually. We have more information.
Shannon, I'm not here for your facts.
I know, but that's... in case you haven't noticed, that's all I do, so... But yeah, there was this, I didn't put it in here because it wasn't, like, factually relevant to any of this, and it was basically just repeating the facts of her case, quote unquote, but it was from this, like, mystery author lady. I never heard of her, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't, like, do well. I don't read mystery, so I've never heard of this woman. But she was, crap, what was it? Hang on.
It's okay if you don't know.
I don't have it written down, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
It was like JH something or something like that.
Nope, not one of
but
those.
she does, like, I guess she has, like, a personal blog, and she wrote about this case, and then in the comments, people were like, this isn't real, right? And she was like, I've never heard that it isn't real. And I was like, how do you not think that this isn't real? Like, how are people purporting that this is, like, a true thing? You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing.
Yeah.
There's no information. And then even with those newspaper articles, I had to dig to find those newspaper articles. Like, it took me forever to find them. And then, like, yeah, they were on that blog post, but the blog post didn't say where they got them from. Because they didn't show, it wasn't a PDF. They just literally copied the text and put it into the blog. So I have no way of verifying if this is true or not. Like, if this is what that article said.
Oh, nice.
Like, I verified one of them because I didn't have to go to newspapers.com and pay for it.
Yeah.
And then the people on WikiTalks have verified it, and, like, I trust their verification of it. And, like, these articles did exist. If I had had more time, I would have done this. I almost emailed the people at the Danville Bee to be like, do you have this in your archive somewhere? I almost emailed them. And honestly, if I would have had more time, I would have.
Shannon, you're a nerd.
You're just now realizing this? Well, I was getting super frustrated because, like, I couldn't find this fucking article. And so I was just, like, desperate. And I was like, can you guys get me this? But I didn't have enough time because I didn't think they would get back to me before today. So, yeah. Literally, I thought about it so hard. I was like, do I want to bother these people and make them look for an article from 80 years ago?
It's imperative it's for my podcast.
I know. Oh, that was the other thing too. I was like, do I want to sound like a crazy person on top of it?
Hey, have we reached the devil's number yet?
I thought we already did.
We had
665.
No, we had 600. We had 666 US downloads the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
She, like, messaged us about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was... okay, I can't read.
I definitely remember getting that.
I can't read, okay? I don't know how many times I have to tell you.
But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My whole thing with this was, this is just a really good case study as to not believe the news and to think critically about things that are told to you, even if it's coming from someone that seems reputable. I guess is my whole thing. I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Also, like, never mind. I was just going to repeat the same thing. Just
verify your sources, friends.
Seriously verify your sources, because just because it's on the internet doesn't mean that it's a good source.
Nope.
Hi, students, if you're listening. Fucking please.
Yes, Hannah and I
Also,
can teach a workshop on how to effectively research if anyone is interested.
did not just copy and paste the URL. That is not a citation.
No,
that is not
it's not.
a citation.
Sorry, did somebody do that? Because I might have to...
Yeah. Somebody's done that.
Okay.
See, I have to use this fucking stupid citation method, I guess, called Blue Book, which is like the legal way to do things. Like the legal writing way, not like the lawfully correct way. The thing is, I phrased it badly. See, when I was an undergrad, I used Chicago style, which I fucking miss. But I could use Citation Machine for that. I can't for Blue Book, so I have to create my own citations for everything, and it's really fucking annoying.
I think it's easier just to do your own citations, like, by hand. I know that I'm a total nerd about that, but, like...
Well, because I never did.
If you know what you're doing, yes.
Well, that's the other thing. Our first year, because we have...
better.
So my school, we do 4 semesters legal writing, which is a lot. Most schools only do 2, but we do 4 for various reasons. Our first year, we don't even do Blue Book. We do Allwood, which no one fucking uses. Literally one circuit court and like one state uses Allwood. So we're just like, why the fuck are we learning Allwood and we're not learning Blue Book? It's essentially the same, but still. Yeah. Also, it's published by like a bunch of Ivy League schools. And it's basically just to make money because I'm pretty sure... because we're on the 20th edition of it now. I'm like 99% certain the only change from the 19th edition was they changed how to shorten laboratory. That was the only change. And they made it something stupid. It's like labby or something. It's fucking ridiculous. I hate it.
LOL.
The change of MLA 7 to MLA 8 is that in MLA 8, it's not required that you have the URLs in the works cited page. Fun fact.
I miss Chicago style. It was all footnotes. I like not having in-text citations. It breaks up the reading. But Blue Book's also in-text, and I fucking hate it. So.
Don't shit on MLA.
I hate it.
Have to use APA, and
God.
trash.
Ew. Yeah, APA is horrible.
I don't understand APA.
I don't
No
either.
one understands APA.
I don't
APA
either.
doesn't even understand APA.
No, I don't.
I get Chicago because, like, footnotes, FTW, but, like, everything else, I don't get it. It's too hard.
I don't even remember how
footnotes.
Chicago style works, but it made a lot more sense to me than MLA did. But that was just...
Well,
that may have
you
just been... I mean, I had to use it for 3 years, so maybe that's why. Although I've had to use the Blue Book for 2 now, and I still fucking hate it, so what are you gonna do?
All right, we've spent like 7 minutes talking
Yep.
about footnotes. Let's
Okay,
be done with
that's
it. I
all
have
I
to go
got.
to Target.
Yeah. Okay. Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully
Happy
this
New
year.
Happy New Year.
I don't want to jinx anything, but hopefully this year is better than last year.
You know what? Let's
I
just
hope
remain
so.
objective. Like, it's a new year. That's it. That's the end of that statement. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Don't put any expectations on it. Bye. Thanks for listening to The Triad. Our music is by Scott Buckley. Our audio is recorded by our sound engineers, Craig Bott and Audrey Credo.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Tumblr as The Triad Podcast. Our website is thetriadpodcast.wordpress.com. There, you can find information about our latest episode, including the show notes and sources.
We're also on Patreon as The Triad. Currently, all Patreon funds will go towards the cost of hosting the show. Each tier has its own rewards, but every patron receives our undying gratitude. Do you have comments, questions, or stories? Email us at thetriadpod@gmail.com. And thank you again for listening to The Triad, where we're spooky but sensitive.